Hi everyone, just a quick announcement. Our team at Providend will be conducting a webinar titled How We Ensure Reliable Investment Returns for Your Life Goals. It will be held on Tuesday, the 12th of September. In this webinar, we will be going through how we derive the projected returns of our investment portfolios, which is fundamental when it comes to determining the amount our clients need to save and invest for their future. The speakers for the webinar would be our CEO, Christopher Tan, our Head of Investment, Cheng Chai Sen, and our Director and Senior Advisor to Providend, Dr. Peng Chen. The link to the registration for the webinar is in the description of this podcast. If you are interested, kindly take a pause to register. Thanks everyone. Without further ado, let's jump right into this episode.
Hi everyone, welcome to the Money Wisdom Podcast. This is a very special episode because we are doing this episode in celebration of our 22nd birthday or our 22nd anniversary of our company's founding. And so today we have two very special guests, Kuen and Vincent. Both are founding members, founding directors of Providend, which means they are very old, which means they are older than me. Okay, and then we have invited them to the studio to talk a little bit about their experiences so far over the last 2 decades with Providend. So, very warm welcome, Kuen and Vincent. And as a start, maybe please introduce yourselves to everyone. Maybe Kuen first.
Hi, Chris. Thank you. I'm very happy to be, part of this podcast for today. So I'm Kuen. I'm part of the Wealth Advisory team in Providend. Also one of the founding members of Providend, and I have been with Providend since day one, 2001. So it's been like 22 years.
Okay. That's my second question actually, but you've answered it already. Never mind.
Oh, okay.
Okay, 22 years. Okay, how about Vincent?
Hi, everyone. Nice to be on the podcast for Providend. As you know, my name is Vincent, Vincent Tay. I'm a client advisor and heading up one of the advisory team in Providend. Happily married with 3 adult children. Probably the best time of my life.
Okay.
As me and my wife have more time for ourselves.
Okay, so I'm glad you say happily married because I'm quite sure I will be sending this link to Ting Ting so that she can listen. Okay, both of you mentioned that you've been with Providend for 22 years.
Yes.
Now, I can't remember exactly now, but did you all join Providend the very first day since we started?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
In fact, even right before officially, we started.
Before September
I
11.
remember I was helping out in the training materials, going through the materials to prepare those materials ready for training.
Okay. Was that at our first office at Key Point, or was it at
Yes, even
Raffles
at
Place?
Key Point.
Oh, at Key Point.
Right.
Vincent was about
3 months later, I believe in January 2020. January 2002.
okay.
Right.
So, that's slightly later than our official birthday, which is September 11, 2001.
Right.
Okay.
I when I first came to Providend, I am already in the Lawyer Brothers building.
Okay, Raffles Place.
Yes.
Raffles Place.
Yeah.
Okay, I know you have introduced a little bit about yourself, but maybe just talk through with us a bit more, Kuen. What exactly, are you doing now at Providend? Your role, your job, what do you do?
Okay, so like I mentioned, I'm part of the Wealth Advisory team. So it's clients facing. I meet clients, prospective clients. I help them with, coming up, constructing a wealth management plan to help them achieve their life purpose and goals.
Okay. And Vincent, I know you do that as well, but
Right.
over and above that?
Over and above that, I head up a senior advisor team.
Okay.
Yeah, and the other hat that me and Kuen wear is also being in the board of Providend.
Okay.
Yeah, which hopefully through our experience can add some value to the company.
Okay.
Yeah.
So both of you are client advisors or senior client advisors, but at the same time, you're in leadership position. For Vincent specifically, you take care of the senior advisors, and both of you are board members.
That's correct.
Not just on Providend Limited's board, which is a licensed entity, but also you are on the board of our holding company.
That's right.
Right.
Right. So, they always hear from me talking about how our early years were like. I think no one has ever heard the story from both of you, right? Because I paint myself, my story, I see it through my lenses. But maybe we'll start with Kuen first. Maybe share with all of us, from your perspective, how were our initial years like?
Our initial years, I think one word to describe would be tough, very tough, difficult. Why? Because from the business point of view, this fee only, Providend, this fee only model of doing business is something new in Singapore, and we were the first fee only company, wealth advisory firm in Singapore. So unlike in the US, where consumers are not used to paying a fee for financial advice in Singapore, so that makes it difficult, so-called, to do business. And in the earlier years, we have no brand, no name, so that makes it even tougher from the business point of view. Which means also that financially, from us, so-called for us individual, right, we suffered a big pay cut compared to what we were drawing previously. And this model of doing business is actually a very slow way of generating revenue compared to commission-based and all that. And I think a lot of us founding members, we really simplified our lives. And I think what we are thankful for is our spouse, our family members who have been really supportive, that enable us to go through so-called these tough, challenging years.
Yeah, thanks, Kuen. Vincent, anything else?
Yeah,
to add
I echoed Kuen a lot in terms of our family member. Yeah, so in the earlier year, of course, until now, the pillar of my strength is my wife. Her trust and the support. And no matter how hard and how tough sometimes, when I go home, always have good food, healthy food, and of course, plenty of space to rest and much love. And also, all these 22 years, my wife have never uttered words of doubt or deterring. So that's definitely, I'm really thankful for. My beginning year with Kuen, probably a little bit different. I guess the nature of me being an optimist. And I remember, if I remember correctly, Kuen, you probably helped Chris and Aaron look into the numbers and all this, which I don't, right? So
she does everything for us.
Yeah, I don't
she
understand.
Did everything for us, from training, competency, compliance, everything that we don't want to, or I don't want to do.
Yeah. So in a way, I'm shielded from, all the difficult, tough time, looking at the books and how much money we have and all this. Yeah. So to me, I am warm up easily to new ventures and all this. So I remember the initial as very exciting and fun. But of course now I look back, to me is actually we are very courageous thinking about it, right? And in someone's eyes could be we're a little bit crazy.
Naive.
I think we're not naive. That one I think we had done, especially you and Aaron and Kuen have done the sum. And we know what we hold very dear to our heart. But we're in a way a bit crazy. Perhaps the trait of most business owner.
Right.
Then cannot imagine that we are waiting, paying rent, waiting to apply a lesson for an act that is yet to be gazetted.
Yeah.
It's just...
I mean, for those of us who are listening in, and Vincent kept mentioning Aaron. Aaron is actually my co-founder, but Aaron stepped down sometime in 2010 to be a full-time staff with the church. But yes, we are grateful to him for co-founding the company together with me. Okay, so I'm going to ask both of y'all, do y'all remember, I mean it's been 2 decades, so I do not know how I remember, but can you remember how much money you all brought home during the initial years?
Oh, honestly, I cannot remember. Maybe it's so small that I don't even want to remember. Okay. I remembered I had to tap on my own savings. But I think some of them actually did mention, and they take I remember someone showed they took a photograph of their paycheck for the earlier months. But I really don't remember.
Vincent, can you remember?
I cannot remember. Actually, I kept them until the recent.
You mean the paycheck?
Yes.
I think we pay by check, right? Did we?
If I remember correctly, it was some statement.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I kept them. Only recently when we were renovating our office, then I threw them away.
Wow, you should have kept to our this
Put it out on
anniversary.
put it on a portrait or whatever. But okay, I remember that we didn't have a fixed pay. It was variable.
Correct. Yes.
Right? And what we did was that whatever revenue that we brought into the firm, we pay rent, we pay whatever bills, we pay our staff. There weren't a lot of staff, but we did have, and we pay. And then whatever that is remaining, I think we share.
Right.
And then if we bring in revenue ourselves, we get certain cut. I think I can remember. And I think the highest during the initial years, the highest I ever brought home was about $1,800 lah. Yeah, that was the highest.
Okay.
But perhaps it's also useful for the listeners to know that before we started Providend, we all knew each other from a commission-based insurance firm. And we are all doing pretty well. We were the OGs of MDRT. But of course, those days, MDRT is very difficult. Not like now, you hear people doing TOT, COT. Those days, it's not easy to do MDRT. Can you all remember how much you all brought home on average? Or at a peak? Do you remember?
I think it's more than 200,000
200,000, right?
a year. Yeah.
Vincent?
Yeah, I think it's somewhere close to that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's my figure as well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, in a way, it put into context where we came from, because it's not just us. The rest of the founders, people like Evelyn, Eleanor, they too have to do the same thing. Basically, we gave up our commission and then to come into a fee-only practice and just taking home $1,000 over. So yeah, it's indeed very tough. And I mean, y'all could have just left, right? Because Miku, you mentioned tap into the savings, into your savings. And those tough years were not like just months. They were years. What made you all stay on? Please don't say it's me, okay? That's going to make me very guilty, but please say something else.
Okay, maybe I'll start first.
Sure. Thank you, Miku.
Okay, we came together to set up Providend. We had this dream and this passion, right? We want to set up a company with a purpose to serve our family of clients, to fulfill their dreams and life purpose by providing them with the most honest, independent, and competent advice. And in an industry where there is so much mis-selling, conflict of interest, we just want to do the right things to show that we can still do well, by doing the right things. So I feel that, it's like we have gone so far. I mean, at least, we have done all the hard work. We just want to really make it work. And I think, lastly, one reason is that I just feel that I couldn't just walk out on the rest of the founding members, right? I can't say, okay, this is it, goodbye, take care. Over the years, I think we are not just colleagues, we have become friends. And, we just want to continue because we know that it's something honorable and it will work. It just takes time. We just want to, press on and support one another to make it work.
Yeah, plus more importantly, we share the same faith, right? So, so I guess these are some of the reasons why the founding members stay on. Vincent?
I have three reasons that when I reflect on that I stay on. The same three reasons that I'm having it right now still. For me to stay on, and definitely I echo Kuen's point about coming together and to make it work. But as I say, I was an optimist, so I don't really think too much. I just have this feeling that we will make it. Yeah. But also being in the front seat about sales, right? So my experience will be a little bit more different. Yeah. the first reason has always to be my client. Because each time when a client put their confidence in us, from the very day that we started, which is a lifelong relationship that we had with the client, we know that the money that they entrust with us paramount to to theirs and their family well-being. So I always make a commitment to myself that I will stay for them as long as God keep me here. Yeah. The second reason is really what Chris you have mentioned a lot recently, from the books of Repacking Your Bags by Richard Lader and David Shapiro. Because I really in a place where I am in a place where I belong. I just feel that I'm very belong with the people that I love and doing the right things on purpose. Yeah. The final reason, unfortunately, I have to say this, is your leadership.
Okay, that makes me very guilty now. Or not guilty, burden.
Yeah, but it's an honest.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing. The initial years were tough, and I think if we think back, we will think of many of those tough moments, right? And I've shared it quite publicly that in the year 2005, somewhere in June of 2005, we came to the realization that we actually might, or rather at that time, may close down. Right, but somehow, by God's grace, we survived. Right, and I'm sure there were many other bad memories, but I'm also sure that there are many good memories. So maybe I'll start with May Queen again. I know before we recorded this, you said you had a hard time trying to remember some of these nice memories, but I hope you have gotten some of them. You can share it with us.
Okay, maybe it's me. I'm not a very fun person, fun-loving. Nothing really stands out for me. I tried very hard to recall, but I guess it's like maybe nothing like spectacular in particular, but over the years, like I think our annual retreats, is really something to look forward to. Yeah. There's the fun part. And there's also the serious part, where every beginning of the year, you as the CEO, you share about the plans for the new year to all the staff, and we also have the what I call the emotional part,
finale night.
The finale night, where the last night of the retreat, where we would do this thing called I appreciate you. Basically, we write on cards or paper, to appreciate everyone in the firm. So I think that's something very unique and meaningful. So these are the things I remember. I also enjoyed the various workshops that the company, organized for, I think, practically like almost everyone in the firm. I was just counting, we had done various those personality profiles. We did the emergenetics, and there was another profile that I couldn't remember right now. When we went through like 2 or 3 days of workshops, discovering our profile, and then also our colleague, and then with that, how we can better work with one another. We also went through like 2 or 3 grooming workshops, over the years. And I remembered in the earlier years, I think the clients we onboarded in the earlier years would have remembered we make not homemade, office-made cookies to delight our client. So these are some of the the nice things I remembered, and also the many hours of management meetings that we had, discussing tough issues, challenges. I remembered sometimes when I come out, at the end of the day, I had headache because it's like for that whole afternoon or day, you are like busy, stressing your brain, the muscles. At the end of the day, I get headache. So these are some of the things that I remembered.
Thanks, May Queen. Vincent?
For me, I think I will describe my memorable moments in 3 areas. The first one is actually with clients. One of the things about having in this seat for 22 years, right? It's like as we age, and somehow unfortunately there are several experiences when my clients in recent year either pass away or become mentally incapacitated because of unexpected event. And when I'm going through this, I really reflect a lot, during the time that we had with the client. Because when we started with the client, it's really all planning, all good, meet them, as their plan progress. But
when they were younger.
Yes, when they were younger, then we share the conversation that we have. We even I even go meal often with some of them. And the next moment you realize that they are not there anymore, or they are not able to take care of themselves. Yeah. So there's a lot of things that go through my mind. The good thing is always feel at least we are there for the family in this kind of time. We know that the plan that we put in place for them will mitigate the financial stresses. Still, there are plenty of stress, in terms of supporting all the administration of the needed matters. Yeah, because there are so many things that go through a family when death or a permanent disability occur, and that is a good reminders of why I'm doing what I'm doing. Yeah. On the happier side, I also had a lot of clients that either voluntarily or involuntarily go into retirements. And just last week, I have one that called me and said, hey, I want to go to retirements next year, which is a year ahead of his plan, right? And what triggered it was the father were found out to have final stage of cancer recently and just given a few weeks to live. Yeah, that kind of hit him quite hard. Yeah, but when he called me and, interestingly, he know that I would say, yes, we are ready. And he just need to hear from me. And it's so easy, right? That it's really a nice, memorable time, conversation that we have. Yeah. Then in terms of business milestone, of course, I cannot forget the time, when we crossed 100 million in 2006. The relief is there, when Genevieve wrote about the articles, I know that he will survive. The second one will be 13 years later. That was in March 2019 when we celebrated that, hey, we've crossed the 300 million mark. So that is really, very long drought, and it make the victory really sweet. Hopefully one more coming. But a few days later, we will know whether we had
1 billion.
Yes. Yeah. Fun part, like Mickey mentioned, the retreat is always pretty amazing. Of course, I remember the one that I was chair in Bali, where I make everybody climb a mountain. And of course, I blow the budget big time.
You have been overtaken. Nowadays, the younger retreat chairman, they blow the budget even more.
Wow. That's nice. Yeah, of course, the most recent one in Sydney, it's a big deal to me. Not only that we travel to such a prestigious destination, and more importantly, we're having firm like DFA, a multi-billion international company that organize for us a 2-day conference and firm visit. Yeah, it felt really honored and proud that whatever we have done is being recognized. Yeah,
I think both of you gave all our listeners a very comprehensive idea of all these beautiful memories in the past. Right, for May Queen, you remembered all the fun activities. And I can see that it's really intentional that you remember all these fun activities, because normally you will probably remember the work more.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. But this time round, you brought up things like annual retreats, the workshops that we do. These are all the fun activities, so-called. Annual retreats are very important for us at Providend. Right? Like you say, it's not just a time for me to download the corporate strategy of the year to the rest of the people in the firm, but it's really a time of bonding. And I know that some listeners will be thinking we have gone for many corporate retreats before. Usually there's a lot of downloading of numbers, KPIs, but actually we know that our retreat, most days are fun days, not so much work days. And the one thing that is very special indeed is the finale night, because that is the moment whereby people working in the company, they become very vulnerable.
Right.
They share not just the good moments, but the difficulties they have gone through over the last 12 months.
Right.
And those moments are very precious. And I'm
yeah.
actually very proud that even though now we are almost 40 people, we can still do that.
Yeah.
The finale night, 40 people, adults,
Yeah.
employees, colleagues, but being able to be very vulnerable and share personal struggles, not just at work, but also at home, right? And Vincent gave the other perspective of work. The enjoyable moments comes from being able to journey with our clients from the time they started with us. And yes, those are precious journey because when they come, they are much younger, healthy. But now that they are aging, I'm actually grateful that we are also healthy enough to journey with them and to support them in what they want to do, whether because they are sick or they want to retire.
Right.
I think if I were to share my own memories, right, like you, May Queen, I wouldn't be able to point to a specific one, but as you all were talking, it's not so much memory per se, but I think what I'm most grateful about when I think back over the last 22 years, and Seth asked me that question that day. He said, how is it that over the last 22 years, the partners never quarrel and stayed together? And I was quite surprised that he asked this question. But actually, it is amazing that over the last 20 years, of course, we debated, but we have never really quarreled.
Trust? Maybe
it's probably
trust. And that submission to authority.
the
We may have
humility.
differing opinions, but at the end of the day, we submit to authority.
Yeah.
But I think trust is the thing that holds us together.
Yeah. So I told Seth all these things, but I say underpinning these things, probably I told him is because we are of the same faith. We understand, right? And because of that, it's not easy for 6 people, and then I'm the second most junior amongst the seniors, Evelyn being the most junior, and the 2 most junior people in the senior group became the CEO and the deputy CEO, right?
Right.
So it speaks a lot about humility, the willingness to submit, and that's probably how we have gone through so many crises, difficulties together to be where we are today. So those to me are precious. And like I said, they may not be memories, but it's something that I'm really grateful about. I think, Vincent, you mentioned a little bit about it already, but I'm going to ask you this question anyway. What are you most proud about Providend today?
Probably 2 things. Yeah. One have to do with our culture. So it's have always been since day one. I actually went through the work plan that we had, since 2003.
Oh, you kept it? Huh?
Yeah, kept it. It's in my folder.
You also very childish now.
So the purposefulness of the leaders to lead more the support and empower everyone to live and breathe our core value, and also the intentionality and the mindfulness of our people to respond to the call of action is unique to Providend to me. Yeah, it's a very nice culture that we have. Yeah, so we know that in GIS I'm very proud of our people. Yeah. The second is really how we stay true to our first love. The Chinese say 我们的初心, is to do the right thing for the clients. Our single focus on our fiduciary care for our clients. We have no but one, just how. How are we going to do it? Yeah.
Yeah, thank you,
Yep,
Vincent. May Queen?
What I'm most proud of would be, I remembered this Business Times article sometime in November 2018, where there was this article that stated that, Providend, how we make a name for ourselves through ethical practices. So I'm really proud, of the recognition Providend has, for being a company known for doing good, good work. And I think it's not just at the ground level, but even among the high net worth so-called community, Providend is known. And I was told that, even in some boardroom meetings, Providend is mentioned, So, I think it's something that's we can all be very proud of because we are just a small company. And through our, our passion of, this persistence in continuing to do what is the right thing over the years, we have gained for ourselves a very good brand name, something that cannot be bought with money, right? It's through what we have been preaching, practicing, and doing all these years. So yeah, I think if you ask me, this is one of the things that, the thing that I'm really most proud of, that I can truly say, it's all through what we have been doing.
Yeah, thanks, Kuen. All those things that you have mentioned, I'm proud of them as well. So I don't want to add on, but as I was thinking of what you were saying, that one thing that came to my mind is, Kuen, you mentioned in the initial years, it was really tough. And we had to simplify our lifestyle. Some of us, we were staying in private property back then. And then along the way, we sort of right size. Today, when I look back, all the founding members, today we are staying in public housing. We never felt the need to go back to private property. We don't drive big cars, which is contradictory to, or at least when I first came into the industry, I was told that you need to look successful, you need to dress up successfully, you need to drive a decent sized car to impress our clients. But we never had to do any of those things.
Yep.
Today, all of us, we can continue to take our MRT, take our bus. But the clients that you advise, they are many, many more times financially successful than you. The wealth that they let us manage, we probably will never achieve it in our lifetime.
True.
But yet, they trusted you with the money.
Yep.
Right? Even though they know that you stay in a 5-room flat, a HDB flat. So that's something that I'm very proud of. But I know I didn't prep you for this question. So it's impromptu. That makes it authentic. Why is it that you don't feel the need to go back to that lifestyle of, everybody in Singapore, not everybody, a lot of people, they want to upgrade to a nice private property, drive a bigger car. Why is it that you don't feel the need to do so? Maybe I'll give Mickey a bit more time to think.
Right.
So I'll start with Vincent.
Perhaps first, I think I would say my wife is someone who told me that she don't move. She's very happy living where we are living right now. One thing for sure, I can't speak very much about other developments. The 10 years that I spent in private condominium versus that, the last 13 years that I spent in public housing, the relationship with the neighbor is very different. Yeah. So we really enjoy our time currently with all our neighbor. Yeah, they were really like a community. My wife often go to this fruits outlet and bulk purchase all the fruits with everybody in the community. Yeah, and then they do things together. My neighbors can come out to borrow like butter, soy sauce.
Sounds like a good old days in the 70s.
Sounds like a good old day. Yeah, we never have to lock our wooden door. It's always just a gate.
I was just told that they don't lock their wooden door.
Yeah.
Please don't tell people where you stay.
Yeah. Of course, where I am is very central, and it's suited to our lifestyle very much, with a lot of greens, and we're outdoor people. Yeah. So that's definitely, we don't have a very strong reason to move. The other reason is probably when come to how do you then, preserve your money, make it work harder for you. Somehow the property options have never come out over all this year. Yeah, we're happy putting our money aside in the globally diversified portfolio is served us well. More straightforward, not so troublesome. And perhaps with the more recent implementation of all these cooling measure in property, that's totally shut our ideas about even thinking about buying a property. Yeah.
Thanks, Vincent. May Queen?
I think having a bigger or a nicer car or bigger house wouldn't spark joy to me. Maybe I may be a little happy for a short time, but after that, no, it won't be. It's not long lasting, and I don't need. I don't need all this to make me feel important or that self-esteem, right? I feel good or I feel lousy just because I stay in a HDB. I don't feel ashamed or I'm a little less so-called lesser than someone. So I don't need all this to make me feel that my own self-worth. And I suppose there are. I feel that with the money, right, I could actually put to better use to pursue other things which are more important, or even about relationships, like spending money on relationships, than all these things.
Yeah, I guess it's all about knowing what defines you.
Yeah.
It's not the material aspect of life that define all of us. And hearing from both of you, you are just doing things that are practical, doing things that will make you happy.
Right.
Vincent's case, practical because your house is near the greens and central Singapore, easy to travel. So that's the practical aspect. Now, if you're listening to this, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that if you stay in a private condominium and you drive a big car, shame on you and you are you are just proud people. No, I'm not saying that. Right? I think there's absolutely nothing wrong.
Right.
If you find that staying in a nice property and driving a car makes you happy and makes your family happy.
Absolutely.
But I'm just sharing that from our perspective, there is no need to chase after wealth for the sake of chasing after wealth. And there is definitely no need to try to pretend to look that you are very wealthy in order to advise the wealthy. Because like I always say, our clients don't come to us because of our wealth. They come to us because of our wisdom.
Yeah.
Right? So I just got one final question before we end. And that is, as we are celebrating our 22nd anniversary, what are some of your wishes for the firm? So maybe I'll start with May Queen first.
My wish is that Providend can continue to serve, many generations of our clients, our clients' kids and all that, providing them with the same, most honest, independent and competent advice. The DNA of Providend continues. Actually, as just now Vincent was sharing, you were asking about the memories we had, right? I kept thinking about, our staff, our self-Provident. But actually I forgot, I really enjoyed, those moments, sessions with clients. Not so much on the numbers part, the numerical side, but clients sharing, their concern, their worries, anxieties about their kids and all that. Yeah. It is not easy, right, to have someone, to share with you. Sometimes it's like, what is like the innermost feelings, and it's the fact that they trust you, that they are so open to share all this. And over the years, some of these clients, of course, some clients, we are always on a professional relationship, but there are some clients whom we have become friends, over the years. So it's something that I really appreciate. And also, which means that, sometimes on days I'm just thinking, clients entrusted us with their life savings. We want to make sure that we are around, so-called, for the longest time that we can, to continue to serve them. Yeah. It's a very heavy, I feel that it's a very heavy responsibility that we have. It's not just helping to grow your money or, to maintain your wealth, but, that responsibility to really, continue with what they come to us, in the first place. Yeah. So
Queen.
so my wish is that we can continue, to serve the many generations of, clients. And also for our Providend staff, our own people, that may they find fulfillment in their work, knowing that, in whatever various capacities they are, right, in their roles in Providend, they are, doing something great.
Thanks, May Queen. Vincent?
Yeah, my wish is very similar to May Queen.
Okay.
My biggest wish for the firm is really to have an outstanding new generations of leaders who will grow the firm to many times bigger. We know the advantage of size. Holding on to the tightly to the core value that we have, protect our cultures jealously, and continue to relentlessly pursue and deliver the excellent level of fiduciary care for our clients and their children. And perhaps expanded clientele so that we can serve more people. Especially after people like us, the first generation founders, retired.
I think both of you have shared what is in my heart as well. I mean, our purpose statement ends with, we want to be the light of the financial world, right? And I hope that in the next 10, 20, 30 years, we are no longer around, the next generation of leaders will continue to perpetuate this aspiration of wanting to be the light of the financial world, and that this deep value of wanting to do the right thing for our clients will continue on.
Right.
Yes.
Despite all the temptations that we may face, because in the financial services industry, sometimes the temptation can be so real, right? Just wanting to make the extra dollar. But when we started Providend, we told ourselves that that's not the way we want to go. And you'll be just a waste if one day we make decision based on making more money for the firm, because it would have defeated the very purpose of why we started Providend in the first place. So I think our wishes for the younger generation is to continue to carry this torch of doing the right things for our clients.
Absolutely, yeah.
So thank you very much, both of you all, for
Thank you.
taking time to prepare this and to share with all of us. I am sure that this episode, there will be many downloads, okay, because people are so sick and tired of listening to me. So it's great actually to listen to other people, especially the founding members of the firm. I think they hardly hear you all speak, but I'm sure that they'll be. It'll be really refreshing for them to hear both of you.
We hope so.
I am sure it will be. I'm sure it will be. So thank you very much. And
Thank
to all
you,
of you
Chris.
out there who are listening, we just want to thank you for not just listening to our podcast, but following our podcast. And for those of you here who are our clients and listening to this, we just want to tell you that we are very grateful that you trusted us. You have not just placed your monies for us to manage, but I always say that you have, in fact, given us a chance to enter into your life, to journey with you. So thank you very much. And if you like our podcast, please continue to follow us from all the various social media platforms. Every time when I end this, Helen, which is the producer, will always remind me or tell me that I forget to remind all of you to please follow us on our various social media platforms, whether Facebook, LinkedIn, Spotify, and wherever you are listening the podcast from. So thank you once again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
All analyses, views, or opinions from interviews, recommendations, and other information broadcasted, podcasted, or published herein are provided for general information purposes only. Information expressed does not take into account any specific situation, particular needs, or objectives, and should not be construed as specific advice or a recommendation. Information has been obtained from sources that are deemed to be reliable, but the accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed. Always consult with a qualified investment, legal, or tax professional before taking any action. Providend Limited does not accept any liability for any loss whatsoever arising from any use of the information broadcasted, podcasted, or published herein. All contents and information contained herein may not be copied or reproduced in whole or in part by any means without prior written consent of Providend Limited.